Yeah. So I think the recording is started now. Can you see it there? Did anything pop up?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes.
So 3, 2, 1.
Your camera is off.
Yeah, there he is. Okay, Eviatar, I think we're good to go.
שלום לכולם, אני אביתר ביטון מחברת אשנב מערכות מידע, חלק מקבוצת אמן, אחת מקבוצות ה-IT המובילות בישראל. באשנב אנחנו מתמחים במתן פתרונות ארגוניים מקצה לקצה בשני עולמות תוכן מרכזיים, תשתיות ואבטחת מידע. בתחום התשתיות אנחנו יודעים לספק טכנולוגיות מתקדמות בעולמות האחסון, החל מארכיטקטורות מבוזרות עד מערכות HPC, תמיכה בפייל, בלוק ואובייקט, דאטה פרוטקשן, החל מפתרונות גיבוי, התאוששות מאסון ורפליקציה על מנת להבטיח המשכיות עסקית, פינופס ואובזרבביליטי, כלים בעצם המסייעים לארגונים לייעל את ביצועי הענן וניהול העלויות שלהם, ותמיכה במערכות אופן סורס, החל מליווי מקצועי בעצם בהקמת, תפעול ותחזוקה של מערכות אופן סורס, לרבות קוברנטיס, לינוקס ואלסטיק. בעולם האבטחת מידע אנחנו בעצם מתמחים בניהול קבצים מאובטח, הגנה מלאה ושליטה על החלפת המידע בארגון עם ארגונים חיצוניים, כולל בעצם מערכות MFT, מייל מאובטח, בשילוב Data Classification לקבצים, DLP ו-CDR. תחום נוסף הוא בעצם ה-PKI, Public Key Infrastructure, אנחנו יודעים להקים תשתיות PKI מלאות לארגונים, כולל הקמה של שרתי HSM, Application Security, שילוב מתודולוגיות אבטחה בתוך תהליך ה-CI/CD למניעת חולשות כבר בשלבי הפיתוח הראשוניים, GRC Management, בעצם סיוע בכל ניהול הרגולציה, Cyber Intelligence, מודיעין סייבר אשר מאפשר ליכולות גילוי מוקדמות לאיומים על הארגון שלנו, ו-AI Security, סט פתרונות להבטחת גישה לכלים מבוססי בינה מלאכותית להגנה על נתונים רגישים בארגון. כשאני מסתכל קדימה לשנת 2026, בעצם אני צופה 3 אתגרים מרכזיים מתוך כל האתגרים שצפויים להעסיק את הסיסו בארגונים, שבעיניי כל אחד מהם לא מייצג רק סוגיה טכנולוגית, אלא בעצם גם אתגר עסקי שהארגון צריך להסתכל עליו. הראשון זה בעצם כל נושא ניהול שרשרת האספקה. בשנים האחרונות בעצם התקפות מבוססות שרשרת אספקה, בעצם דרך הספקי תוכנה ותשתיות של הארגון, הפכו להיות אחד הסיכונים הגדולים של הארגון. בשנת 2026 ארגונים יידרשו להמשיך לחזק את הנראות והשליטה על שרשרת האספקה כולה, מרכיבי קוד פתוח, אינטגרציות, API, תוך מיקוד באמון, מעקב ושקיפות, בכל רכיב שנכנס לאקוסיסטם הארגוני. GRC Management, בעצם כל נושא ניהול הרגולציה, אנחנו רואים שהרגולציה העולמית וגם כאן בישראל רק הולכת ומתהדקת, גם עם תקנות הפרטיות החדשות, גם עם רגולציות אירופאיות חדשות שאנחנו בישראל מאמצים אותם הרבה פעמים, ככה שבעצם ניהול GRC יעבור ממצב של תיעוד בלבד למצב של ניהול רציף ודינמי, מבוסס על נתונים בזמן אמת, בעצם לא רק בדיקה אחת לתקופה, אלא בדיקה מתמידה של העמידה שלנו ברגולציות. בעצם ארגונים יידרשו לכלים שיחברו בין הערכות סיכונים, אכיפה, בקרות וניטור, תוך שמירה על אחריות, שקיפות וחוסן ארגוני. והנושא השלישי שבעיניי הגדול מכולם שיהיה בשנת 2026, זה בעצם כל נושא כלים, גישה לכלי ג'ן AI, ככל שהכלים האלה בעצם הופכים לחלק משגרת העבודה, ארגונים נדרשים לא לחסום אותם, אלא לאפשר אותם כדי התמודדות עם אתגר חדש, שליטה ובקרה על גישה למערכות AI. העובדים כבר מודיעים שהם מתקשרים עם מערכות כאלה, והרבה פעמים יש התוודות שאנחנו יודעים שעובדים משתפים מידע רגיש או קנייני, באחוזים מאוד מאוד גבוהים, הרבה פעמים בלי לדעת שהם מוצאים את המידע החוצה. בשנת 2026 אנחנו נראה התרחבות של השימוש הזה. איך אנחנו באשנב יודעים לסייע בעולמות האלה? אז בעצם לכל נושא שרשרת האספקה אנחנו יודעים לספק פתרונות, כמו הפתרון של חברת קייטוורקס שעוד מעט נשמע עליו, בעצם לטובת כל הנושא העברת מידע רגיש אל הארגון ומחוץ לארגון, תוך שמירה על סודיות, שלמות ויכולת מעקב מלאה אחרי כל הקבצים. אנחנו יודעים ליישם הצפנה וחתימה דיגיטלית לקבצים, לשלב דאטה קלסיפיקיישן, DLP ו-CDR, ובנוסף, בתוך הבית לאפשר מערכות דאטה פרוטקשן טובות שיודעות להגן על המשכיות עסקית ועל שלמות המידע, גם שהוא יושב אצלנו במידה של סכנה. בעולם ה-GRC אנחנו יודעים לספק מעבר לליווי של יועצים מומחים ושירותי מודיעין סייבר, גם מערכת מולטי רגולציה שמאפשרת בעצם לארגון לנהל ריבוי רגולציות. המערכת מבוססת אג'נטיק AI ויודעת לתת לנו בעצם ניטור מתמיד ורציף אחרי מצב הרגולציה הארגונית, מצב הציות יותר נכון, ולספק חיווי בזמן אמת על המידע שלנו בתקנים. ולעולם ה-Gen AI אנחנו צופים שצריך לספק כמה הגנות. הגנה ראשונה ברמת המשתמש, כאשר עובדים של הארגון פותחים דפדפן או כל כלי כזה אחר ומתשאלים ישירות באמצעות פרומפט כל כלי AI כזה או אחר. בנוסף, הגנה ברמת הפיתוח, איך קוד שיושב אצלי בבית ומפותח בבית ופונה ל-LLM חיצוני, בעצם איך אנחנו דואגים מה יוצא דרכו, מה נכנס דרכו ומה הוא עושה, והגנה של כלים צד שלישי שמותקנים אצלנו ומנסים עדיין לגשת ל-LLMים חיצוניים. בעצם גם כאן נדרשת שכבת פרוקסי שמאפשרת מדיניות גישה מובטחת למניעת חשיפה דרך הממשק הזה. עכשיו, I will switch to English. I would like to present you Hendrik from Kiteworks that help us to solve all the supply chain issue at the security trend for 2026. Hi, Hendrik.
Hi, Eviatar. Thank you for the introduction. We're pleased to be here. I'm happy to be joined today by Michael, our sales engineer, who will assist us in giving you guys a brief demo of the platform. Our goal for today really is to give you just a very short overview so that you can decide whether it makes sense to dig deeper. If you do feel that this is worthwhile, then obviously we will be happy for you to reach out to Eviatar, to Eshnav, or to us so that we can figure out if we can help you with the use case that you have in mind. So for today, what we're going to do, I'm going to quickly share just 2 or 3 slides to give you an understanding how we help companies in Israel today. And then I will ask Michael to give us a brief demo of the platform itself so that you can get an idea of the feature set that Kiteworks has to offer. Okay, just a second. Okay, so this is today's topic, how to manage security for data you share, send, and use. I think it's great to start off with the problem that we have identified within companies, and it is the fact that nowadays we use multiple channels in every company to exchange information with our partners. That can be like Eviatar is saying within the supply chain or with customers or etc. And so there is a variety of systems that are being used today. For example, it can be SharePoint, it can be email, it can be APIs, web forms, etc. And many of you may be using MFT solutions, SFTP. And like I was saying, we exchange these informations with, there may be a variety of information that we share over these systems, some confidential, some less confidential, and there's a variety of recipients that receives this information or with whom we exchange information. And this becomes a CISO's nightmare because it becomes virtually impossible to know where all the data is within the company, who it's being shared with. So you don't know if it's being protected the right way, who's had hands on it, and you have different security standards that may be implemented throughout various systems. So the goal that Kiteworks has as a platform is to unify a variety of channels that we're going to look at in a minute into one single so-called private data network. And by unifying these systems all into one platform, we deal with a few advantages. On one hand, we obviously have a cost reduction because we only have one platform that we need to manage instead of many different ones. And in terms of security and compliance and tracking, the great advantage is that Kiteworks comes with very enhanced tracking capabilities, a risk policy engine, and encryption, which makes sure that you have full visibility over all the channels that are being used within the company. So regardless if someone is sending emails or sending files over SharePoint or any other channel, MFT, SFTP, we have a unified tracking and control system in place that makes sure that you always know where your data is going, who it's being shared with, and if it's being handled the right way. So just before I give time to Michael, this is kind of a brief overview over the different modules that Kiteworks has implemented. So as you can see on the left side here, we really start out with secure file sharing for sensitive content. But then there's functionality in terms of SFTP. There is also a new AI features that we have implemented. We have encrypted emails that we can send over the platform. We have web forms, MFT. As you can see, there's a variety of systems implemented here, and we can also integrate, like I mentioned before, other systems like SharePoint, Google Drive, etc., so that you can make sure that you have full visibility over everything. This may sound a little bit overwhelming. I think the important message here is that you don't need to use all the functionality that Kiteworks has to offer. You can start with one small use case and then expand into other ones. Or if you say, for example, we don't have an MFT use case, then you don't have to use the MFT module. But just let it be said that the goal is to unify as many channels as possible that you already are using today so that you have full control and visibility over what is being shared within and outside the company. So having said that, I would like to give Michael the time to give us a brief overview over the platform itself.
So thank you, Hendrik. I'm going to share my screen, just a few seconds. And I'd like to start at Hendrik said before. Let me share my screen. So I'm going to share my screen, and what you see here is the possibility to log into the private data network of Kiteworks. What we see here is the web interface. In your case, if you are a customer of the private data network and you're using the private data network of Kiteworks, your company logo would be seen at the top of the screen. Your background picture could be in the back, and you could connect your domain, your URL, your web address with the private data network of Kiteworks, with the environment of Kiteworks. Talking about our deployment possibilities, what we offer our customers that the solution can be hosted by us, Kiteworks hosted as a pure cloud product, but it's also possible to have the Kiteworks private data network deployed in your data center under Hyper-V, under VMware, or under Nutanix. This is also possible. And if you want to host it, to have the environment hosted by us, you can say, okay, you will have your data in different countries all over the world. You decide where you want to have your data. The interface supports different kind of languages, which is very important for the international collaboration with your suppliers, for example. It is also possible to have a single sign-on login for the internal users. If you want to invite external users, your supplier, your partners, other external users, they have to log in. They can log in with username and password, and with an additional multi-factor authentication. We also support the synchronization of LDAP or Active Directory groups. So if I log in, I see here the end user interface for the usual end user. And what we see here is a very simple, easy to use web interface. On the left side, we have the area where you can create messages, where you can send out messages to request files or to send out files. If we're talking about sending out files, we only talk about send out links. Behind these links, there are the files external user, a supplier, partner can download. We have here the all files area, what we also see here in the middle. And as you can see, we don't have only the private data network. We also support the connections of existing data repositories. We often see that we have users, that we have customers, prospects. They already use, for example, Google Drive, Dropbox, or especially SharePoint, and they don't want to open up SharePoint for their external suppliers, for example. They want to share links out of SharePoint, but they don't want to open up SharePoint. And this is possible with the enterprise connection possibility of the private data networks with existing data repositories. But let's go into the private data network of Kiteworks. In the end user interface, I see a lot of folders. I can create folders. In this case, I already prepared a demo folder. And in this folder, it is possible to upload single files, to upload complete folder structure within the web interface, but also with drag and drop from the Windows Explorer, for example. Now I want to invite for a collaboration an external partner, an external supplier. I can invite new members. In this case, I use an existing dummy user. And what is very important, we have a very simple rights management. So I can invite an external user, an external supplier partner as a manager. This is usually right what I use if I want to invite an internal user to represent me if I'm on vacation or on a business trip, for example. If I want to collaborate very interactive with my supplier, for example, I would invite him as a collaborator. For example, I can have a collaboration, a live collaboration with Word, Excel, PowerPoint, and so on inside the web interface to have an exchange with my external supplier. If I want to have an external supplier only to download or to view or to upload files, this is also possible. So very simple rights management at first, and after the invitation process, the supplier gets an email. He has to register on the platform. After the registration process, he has directly access to the platform. So in this case, I will go to the supplier email address, and in a few seconds, I think we will have here a new email. Here it is. Even it is a demo system, it's live working. And this is the typical email an external supplier gets from your Kiteworks private data network. We have here a template which can be configured by you. And if the external supplier wants to have access to the folder, he clicks on the button, logs in very easily, in this case without second factor authentication, and he has now direct access to the platform. He is also allowed to upload different kind of files or folders. I'm going to show you this very easy. And what is very important for the usual end user inside your company, you always see as a usual end user all the activities, all the actions on the platform. For example, I've invited this external user, and now I see, okay, these files are from my side, and this file comes from the external user, from the external supplier. I see all the activities on the platform in this folder. I am the owner of the folder. I see here, okay, this is the internal user, this is the external user. I see all the members of this folder. I can remove the member, I can change the rights, anything else. And what is also very important for the usual end user, I will go to the administration interface in a few seconds. I see all the details in the folder. So in this case, I see, okay, I've created the folder, I've invited an external user. The external user has added, for example, this logo PNG file. And this is very important if you're working together with your suppliers, for example, or you have an M&A use case. You want to be sure that the files you send out are written, that the external user has access to. He has seen the file, he has downloaded the file, anything else. So this is very important for the usual end user. This is one use case I can here have in the core product of the private data network. What is also possible, I can also send out files, single files to external users. This sending out of files is very easy. So in this case, I would click on a file and I would send out the file over the private data network with different kind of security settings, for example. And this is also very easy to use because we also offer an Outlook add-in. Maybe you want to work with your usual environment. You want to work, for example, with your Windows Explorer to open up files. This is also possible. So with our integration of the private data network into Windows Explorer, it is also possible that you have access into your Windows Explorer or into your Apple Finder to the private data network of Kiteworks. So coming back to the Outlook add-in, because we have seen I can invite users with the web interface. I can send out files with the web interface, but it is also possible to work with the Outlook plugin. And in this case, I can send out files. In this case, I wouldn't send out files as a physical attachment, but with a link. So we have here an add-in from the private data network of Kiteworks, which is integrated into Outlook. And now I can say, okay, I want to send out a link for a special file. I have different kind of options, the same options I have into the web interface, because, for example, I can here decide, okay, only the recipient has a possibility to download the file behind the link. Different kind of security levels I can decide for. And now I can also say, okay, I want to send out a file which is already existing in the private data network. I can send out links for files existing still on my computer, for example. And this is also very easy to use because we don't want the customers to say, okay, you have to send out files out of the private data network with the web interface, but it's also possible to send out files within the Outlook plugin. All the activities are tracked, and the tracking of the activities and all the actions happening in the private data network, you can see in the administration backend. So we'll now switch to the administration backend. And what we see here is our so-called administration backend with different kind of more detailed information. So I see the system status, I see all the activities and all the reports, what was happening in the last few minutes. For example, my special user here, I want to see what he has done in the last few minutes. He has logged in, he has uploaded a file. I can do different kind of reports, for examples. I can configure different kind of reports, what was uploaded from different kinds of domains, which were viewed from different kind of domains, from locations and so on. Very important that you have this compliance security model in the back to prove what was happening in your platform in the case an auditor want to see this. I can also have my user management here at the platform, and we're working with so-called profile mapping. For example, if a user comes in with an external IP address or with an external domain with an external email address, he would get automatically a special profile. In this case, for example, he would get a restricted profile. I can enforce him to log in with two-factor authentication. I can enforce him to agree the terms of services. I can enforce the external user, the external supplier, that he is not allowed, for example, to upload zip files or different kind of other files in this case. And this is very important that we have with this fine granular user management, with a user management inside the platform, and also with the user management in the administration backend, a very fine granular possibility to cover all your requirements regarding internal and external users. What is also very interesting is our so-called CISO dashboard for the security officers in your company. In this CISO dashboard, I see all the activities, all the actions from all over the world. For example, we have at the moment this number of successful logins. I can zoom in and I can check this out. Okay, where does this logins come from? For example, here from Jerusalem, click on it, and I see, for example, here the email address of the user who has already logged in from Jerusalem in this case. I also see the failed logins, also very interesting. Nowadays, we have hacker attacks 24 hours, 7 days per week, and the companies want to know where come the hackers attacks from. Also very interesting. Beside this end user interface and the administration interface of the private data network, we also have the possibility to work with different kinds of solutions. We have seen the admin console, we have seen the files and mail console. We can also work with a kind of advanced forms with the possibility to create forms with our application. For example, we see a lot of companies, they're using kind of web forms, and this is also a possibility for the attackers, for hackers from all over the world to attack a company via this kind of web forms. And in this case, the web forms, the result of the web forms would be uploaded to the private data network, to the high secure private data network at Kiteworks. And in different kind of folders, you can place this, the results of the web forms, take this out automatically or manually, and work in another solution with the results of this web forms, for example. Also another possibility out of our portfolio. What I also like to mention, I go back to the user interface. We often hear that different kind of companies want to collaborate with other external users, other external suppliers, but they don't want to have them the rights to download the files. They want to work together with them. In this case, we have a new solution, a brand new solution, which is called Safe Edit. So I can allow external supplier to download files and to upload files. But in some cases, especially of the manufacturing industry, I want them to work with a CAD file, for example. I want them to work with a Word, Excel, PowerPoint file, or with a simple text file, but I don't want them to download this file, for example. And this new solution, the Safe Edit solution, is very interesting because I can collaborate with my external user, but he is not allowed to download the file. So what we see here, the text file is opened on a server. I can work as an external supplier and as an external user with the file. I have to log in with, I hope it works, with my credentials. And now I can work with this text file, but I'm not allowed to download the file, for example. So the file is saved by me. So let me check this out. Save. Is saved back in the private data network in a new version. And if I go back to the private data network, I have worked with the file, but in this case, it wasn't impossible for me to download the file. So also very interesting solution out of our portfolio to work together with external suppliers with not the right to download the file. So short overview about our solution. I'm not sure with a few to Hendrik if we have some minutes left. In this case, he says we have some minutes left. In this case, I'm going to show you some other solution. Going back to the administration interface. What you have seen here is web forms. Very interesting possibility to work with this tool to collect user data, for example. What is also very very interesting, if you have already in place an SFTP server, it is also possible to have a SFTP connection to our solution. And what Hendrik mentioned before, all the activities are tracked. So if a user has the right to have an SFTP connection to our private data network, he has the right, for example, to upload files in different kind of folders. This is a manual process he can do. And the most important thing, everything is tracked. So if I go back now into the administration interface, so here we have a issue with our demo platform. If I'll go back to into my administration interface, let's try it with another folder, I would see the activities from the SFTP client I've already used now. So this is successful. I go back to the administration interface, click on it, and in the administration interface, behind the activities and reports, I can see now that this user, external Erik, this was the name of the user, has uploaded via the SFTP client into the private data network this file of the administration guide. This is very important. All activities around the private data network from different kind of data repositories, if it is SharePoint, if it is Google Drive, Dropbox or something else, all the activities, if I send out files, if I get files from external suppliers, for example, if I'm working with SFTP, all activities are tracked. This is a possibility to replace your maybe existing SFTP server. We also have the possibility to work with MFT clients. In this case, you have to run this MFT client on a Windows machine in your company, for example. I think this is a good possibility to have an automatic data exchange if you don't want to have an automatic exchange with a lot of files. But we also have the possibility to work with an MFT server. This is also in our portfolio. In this case, with our MFT server, it is possible to create different kind of workflows for automatic machine-to-machine communication, for example. And as I mentioned before, even these activities are tracked. So replacing your existing enterprise file sharing solution with private data network is a big advantage. Everything is tracked, every actions, every activities. Replacing your SFTP server, for example, is very important, very easy use case to replace in your company, and especially the machine-to-machine communication that you say, okay, I want to have a connection from different kind of sources, an automatic connection from different kind of sources to different kind of destinations with some kinds of automatic things like automatic unzipping, for example. It is also very important use case regarding the machine-to-machine automatic communication. So I think we are at time, and I finish the sharing of my screen and give back to.
So
thanks, Michael.
Thank you, Michael and Hendrik.
I just wanted to add a few final remarks, if you don't mind. This is a high security platform. I think, as we were seeing, the idea is to unify all these use cases and use all the security functionality that comes with it. And so, if used properly, these can make your supply chain processes super secure. Like Michael has mentioned, a few details. The platform can either be run on-premise or cloud. It runs as a single tenant environment on a hardened virtual appliance that makes it extremely secure. It gives you also the ability to have one-click updates, and it's filled and packed with security features. There is end-to-end encryption. There's an integrated antivirus, a firewall, tracking capabilities like Michael was showing, risk policies. the list is very, very long, just to make sure that the data you exchange over it is handled in a highly secure way. So I hope we could spark your interest. Eviatar, the time is back to you. Happy to help in the future if any questions arise.
So thank you, Hendrik and Michael, and now let's switch to Hebrew. אז זה הזמן לעבור לשאלות מהקהל אם יש למישהו. And cut it, Hendrik.
Cut, okay. Stop recording. Stop recording and turn up. Okay.